Our quorum leader. I've got 11 o'clock. Are we ready to go? All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Senator Albritton,
Here.
Senator Chambliss, Senator Beasley, Senator Coleman, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Gavan, Senator Jones, Senator Kelly, Senator Livingston, Senator Orr, Senator Price, Senator Shonut, Senator Stewart,
Here.
Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver.
We have a quorum. We're ready to conduct business. Clerk, call the first bill.
SB 68, Senator Chambliss.
Senator Chambliss, you're recognized to explain this most illustrious bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over the last 10 years, we have had 4 different pieces of legislation that have created somewhat of a problem dealing with the retirement for our troopers. And that's evidenced by, we have 427 employees on State Police Tier 1, 135 employees on State Police, or FLC Tier 1, 7 employees on State Police Tier 2, 229 on FLC Tier 2, 44 on FLC Tier 1, 3 on FLC Tier 2. So as you can see from all those small numbers in 6 different categories, it is it's a problem. So what this bill attempts to do is to solve that problem and put them all into a State Police Tier 2 in Aaliyah, and it has different benefits that I can go through all those details. It does have a cost to the state. The cost is $2.8 million, but if I understand it correctly, that is offset in the amount of $537,000 for a net of some $2.25 million. So that's probably the extent of my knowledge, and if there are detailed questions, I'll try to answer them, but our friends from RSA are here to help us as well. So,
Is there any questions?
move favorable.
We have
Mr. Chairman.
First we have a motion by Senator Chambliss, a second by Senator Glenn, and now we have Senator Orr recognized.
Thank you. I would like to hear from RSA regarding the fiscal note and to walk us through that if she's able.
I think the most capable individual that can respond to that is at the microphone now.
You have a copy of this? Okay.
I have that fiscal note, and then I have a more detailed breakdown
Okay.
that we worked with actually.
That's what I'm after.
Go ahead, please.
Start big and go small. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, the biggest thing is you've got really 3 different groups within Aaliyah right now. You've got the true state police benefit, Tier 1, Tier 2. You've got the people that are classified as state police, but they receive FLC Tier 1 or Tier 2. And then you have the legacy FLC members that kind of came in when Aaliyah was formed that are not considered state police. They are paid the FLC contribution rate in ERS.
Do you have any timetable when they'll retire out, that FLC tranche of people, or?
I don't. We could pull out the individuals and kind of look at that and get an estimate on that. But what this would do is bring all of these groups as true state police, either Tier 1 or Tier 2, depending on what their start date was. And so everybody that performs a law enforcement duty within Aaliyah would be under the state police plan. And so it's kind of, it would add to the unfunded liability about $13 million, because some of these members have been receiving and paying at the FLC rate, and they'd go into the state police, which is a richer benefit. And so you'd also have employer contribution increase that accounts for both that unfunded liability and the ongoing normal cost. It'd be offset slightly by the legacy FLC group.
Any idea when you say slightly, how much, define, that's slightly?
The offset, the 537,000.
Okay.
Because currently that's paid under ERS and not in state police, and so everything would be under that state police payroll at that point. And so your contribution rate for the state police tier 2 benefit goes up significantly, about 6%. The state police tier 1 actually goes down, and that's a function of you're having a bigger payroll that it's paid on, and so the rate that you need to get the unfunded liability paid off for tier 1 is a little bit lower.
Thank you.
If I may inquire, this is not a resurrection of the Tier 1 retirement system of old. Is that correct?
Correct. It puts everybody back in depending on their start date. If you were hired after 2013, you're going to be in state police tier 2, and it does include some modifications of that benefit, but it doesn't go back to tier 1.
But this brings a consistency, is that the argument?
That, yes, it from RSA's perspective, it greatly simplifies the retirement benefit and the administration of this plan because it's gotten kind of overly complicated over the years.
Would you agree that the estimate of the $2.2 million annual cost is an accurate estimate in regard to this?
As accurate as the actuaries can be.
That warm and fuzzy just,
I know. I would get in trouble if I said it is going to be 100% accurate because things change, but it's as close as we can get.
any other questions? Senator Coleman Madison.
I don't know if it's a question or more of a comment. When we changed over everything and put in all those other people who are in a, quote, law enforcement capacity under ALEA, and everybody was different. And this really caused a hodgepodge. I can see this is a nightmare for them trying to maintain and determine all of this, but put everybody under one system, it makes it so much easier. It's based on the years of when they came in. I think it's just the right thing to do. So, yeah, I applaud Senator Chambliss. He did something else right.
He's the champion today, yes.
He's a champion today.
I will quickly say I'm the champion today, but I did not do all the work. I promise you, this one's very complicated.
Well, and you're correct. I think the avenue and the goal here is to do what we initially tried to do, is to bring the conformity and consistency here. This resolves some matters for RSA. I think it resolves matters from personnel-wise to ALEA. So with that, if there's no other questions, we have a motion and a second. Let's call the roll.
Senator Albritton?
Aye.
Senator Chambliss? Senator Beasley? Senator Coleman? Senator Coleman Madison?
Aye.
Senator Elliott?
Aye.
Senator Gavan? Senator Jones? Senator Kelly? Senator Livingston? Senator Orr? Senator Price? Senator Shellnut? Senator Stewart?
Aye.
Senator Stutz? Senator Weaver?
Bill receives a favorable report. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it forward. Call the next bill.
SB 69, Senator Jones.
Senator Jones,
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
this is another Retirement Systems of Alabama bill?
That's correct.
How does it interfere with the one we just passed?
Not at all, I hope, Senator.
You're invited now to explain your bill, sir.
Okay, this bill has to do with hazardous duty pay. Of course, these folks that are in the line of fire, so to speak, are able to purchase hazardous duty pay. They pay for it that time. There was a 2-year moratorium, 2-year limit. They could only claim it for 2 years after the passage of the original bill. Nobody's able to figure out why that 2-year limit was put in, since they're purchasing the time, right? Hazardous duty pay. I'll direct you to the fiscal note, which says that they are unable to calculate a quantifiable estimate, but RSA believes that it is a minimal impact.
as good as most actuarial rates can be, correct? Yeah. Senator Orr.
I would like to get the RSA representative to see if she can define what minimal impact is. And I'm not being sarcastic.
I understand.
I really would.
I'm the sarcastic one here.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Ms. Neal. Go ahead.
Senator, this is a diminishing number of people because it's only a active FLC member that might have had time with the state as FLC prior to 2001. I think our estimate is there's about 300 of those people. And we haven't individually gone through, but some of those people have already purchased this time. Some of them that haven't won't purchase it because it's a % of your pay to buy the enhanced time. And so the actuaries basically said it's such a small number that it won't impact the rate.
So once if this bill passes, that 300 declines over time and we're finished.
That's it.
We're not opening the door for
No.
retroactive time purchasing and all that.
It's only for FLC time prior to 2001 because that's when they passed the FLC hazardous duty time. So nothing after
And
that.
difficult to quantify as far as the cost.
Right, because it's such a small number.
And it's a variable because you don't know who's going to do it and who's not.
And they're paying some, so that even further diminishes it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I hear?
I would move favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, Senator Jones. Do I have a second? Second, Senator Coleman Madison. Any other discussion? Any objection to previous roll? No objection. We use previous roll. Bill has a favorable report. Call the next bill.
SB 99, Senator Gavan.
Senator Gavan, I saw that substitute. We may need to discuss that. I've got some issues on that one.
Okay, well, but
I have no trouble with what we have on your bill, but
I thought you'd like the substitute better. That's interesting.
turning the money handling over to the judges is not
Oh, that J
necessarily
word.
in my wheelhouse.
Okay. Well, I think Representative Chestnut's bill is actually the substitute, and to me, it made a little bit more sense. But right now, we pay our.
Well, I'll discuss it with you, but I just
Okay, sure.
I'm unprepared to.
Well, then we'll proceed with, if it pleases the chair, proceed with the bill as it is. Right now, we pay our jurors a nickel a mile. That's ridiculous. And, I mean, they only get $10 a day for expenses. You can't even buy a sandwich for $10 anymore. So, I mean, we're not treating our jurors right, and this is a step in the right direction. So, if it pleases the group, then I would just move for favorable report as the bill as originally submitted.
I would second. Any questions? None? Any objections to favorable report? Previous roll? Done. Thank you. Appreciate your patience with me.
It takes a lot.
Thank you, yes. Call the next bill.
SB 112, Senator Albritton.
Thank you. This bill changes the law just a little bit. This is a matter dealing with ADEM. ADEM is, as you know, responsible for the state implementation of state and federal law dealing with matters of water and lots of other things, safety and through the state. Their general fund budget has been the same over a number of years. What this bill does, it provides an additional user fee totaling 85 cents per month per person to be going straight to ADEM, as does any other fees. And with that, we have a representative from ADEM here that would, I think he is eager to take the microphone and go further on this, to address any other questions. And in fact, I'll ask now, is there any questions from the body at this point? No, all right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I promise I'll keep this brief.
We hope.
I will. There's three major programs at ADM with our air, land, and water. Our land program and air program both have dedicated fees that support those programs because our federal grants are just not sufficient to cover those programs as needed. Our water program does not have a fee. It does not have a dedicated fee. So we have to rely on the general funds. We have to rely on permit fees. Our general funds, as the chairman said a minute ago, were increased to $4 million in 2020. I believe prior to that, it was $300,000 to $500,000. We haven't had a permit fee increase since 2016. That does affect our economic development and our industry. So in lieu of that, we have proposed an 85-cent fee, mainly for our water program. It's 85 cents per water customer. That's not per citizen. So that's per customer per year. That's right around $10 a year. Per capita, ADM is the lowest funded environmental agency in the nation. By EPA standards, we perform in the top 10. And we've been doing that since my tenure, and that's been a while. So the fund, if passed, would fund the agency. We would be able to relieve the general fund of almost the entire $4 million from the general fund, and also the $4 to $5 million for SRF match. So totaling somewhere of $8 to $9 million. Now there is $575,000 earmarked annually for CAFO. Outside of that, there'd be no general fund request, hopefully for the foreseeable future, and no permit fee increases.
Questions?
Yes.
Senator Orr.
So would it be possible to put a fee on all of your, I won't call them municipal, co-op, whatever water systems out there and say, okay, Greenville County, I'm making up a county, you've got 20,000 users and customers in Greenville County, we're going to assess you 85 cents per, as opposed to this bill coming through the legislature.
What we tried to do, it's a good point, but we've kind of done that in a way that they can pass this on. The water systems will be able to put this on the water bill at 85 cents as an environmental fee. That way it's passed on. They're not out any money. Of course, they could recover if we did it the other way. They'd be doing the same thing. If we did it the other way, they would just go to the customer and get it. This way it is a set fee and it's dedicated, and I think they're able to retain 3 cents for their administration, revenue, retain a small portion, and the balance coming to the department.
Right, but it's, you have to come back through the legislature if we put something, a dollar figure like that in the code, whereas if you dealt directly with your, I'm going to pick a random number, 67, 200, 300, 400, 500 water system people that you have out there, you could modify as you see fit going forward rather than coming back here and, if we'd only gotten $1 back in 2023, we really need an increase and running the gamut here. Is that possible, I'm asking?
Sure, I think that's possible. That's another way to, what they say, skin the cat. We can.
Senator Coleman?
I was waiting for my turn.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make sure that I understand this correctly, and maybe I don't understand the definition of a community water system. What is a community water system?
Yeah,
as defined, because normally in the bill we will have a definition section and it'll tell us what that means. So what is a community water system?
Senator, we have that defined in our regulations. It's a good point, good question. That is 15 or more connections, and that is full-time. That's not transient, what we call non-community. It is full-time system. This captures all your large systems. We don't have that many small systems.
So the Birmingham Water Works, I would have to go back and tell my constituents that I am imposing a fee increase on them if we pass this piece of legislation?
Would be 85 cents a meter. That's a customer.
Some people getting $2,000 water.
That's what the issue we're having right now at home, that folks can't pay the water bills they have. So just, I wanted to make sure that I was clear on what a community water system is or was, and now I am. And now I have some things to think about, Mr. Chairman, who was my friend.
I thought, Mr. Chairman, I
No
thought
further
revenue raisers had to start somewhere else. To be-
I need
Welcome
to go to the House.
Senate. Exactly.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Senator Coleman Madison.
I'm trying to get some clarification. This is a follow-up on Senator Coleman's comments. How many systems are there do you have? All of them that you're considering that would be under this?
Around 600.
Around 600?
Yes, ma'am. I can get you the accurate number on that.
And these are urban and rural systems?
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about, all right, so they will be assessed 85 cents per water
Meter, customer.
customer.
Yes, ma'am. If you get a bill in the mail, it would have an 85 cents line item on it. So it's not per person, it's per household, per meter, if you will.
So basically, you're doing the same thing that Senator Orr has already said. It would be imposed upon the citizens, the users, the end users. Everybody's water bill basically will go up 85 cents.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, if you got a $2,000 water bill, which some of our customers have, because it's water and sewer, 85 cents doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It just makes you go postal.
I missed that line.
I'm just saying, it's just the tip of the iceberg or the straw that broke the camel's back here. So now tell me, you say that under your three major programs, air, land, and water, what do y'all do for water now?
Well, we issue permits for all types for the drinking water. We issue permits for wastewater plants, for industrial users, their discharge. Those all have to meet limits. The limits on the drinking water side for health and safety reasons, same on the discharge side. So we're issuing permits, we're making inspections, we're monitoring, we're sampling, et cetera. Everything that goes in consistent with the federal criteria, with the federal regulations, to ensure our citizens have good water quality, both drinking and recreating.
But you primarily deal with your systems, your community systems as such. You don't really deal with the users. I understand that it's all about the water's got to get to my house, and I want it safe and everything. But I would hate to even give them appearance as this legislative body is putting a fee on water for people, which is an essential thing. And I don't know whether you need to come up with something, a cost per system based on the number of users that you have. I mean, they may decide to pass it on. I'm hoping that they don't and find a way to eat this. But I can't go along with passing another cent along to some people, but because water is just it's just vital and essential. You cannot live without water.
That's correct. I can't argue with that. and good water, by the way.
Yes. So I really would like for you all to look at, okay, if you got a larger system based on, say, okay, if you may want to have a formula, then this system is assessed. It's kind of like a membership fee or whatever you want to call it. And that's their assessment that they pay to ADM for doing what they do for you all, for your community systems. I don't want to see, because see, now you're putting every individual user in the mix here. Of course, we understand, but that's just the cost of doing business.
Right. I think our thought was, it was a simplistic way to do it. If you put a fee, which we already have permit fees, and we have them on water systems along with our the other regulated entities. Anytime a permit fee goes up, they pass it on. If we make an assessment to our water systems, which Senator Orr had brought up, if we do that, they're going to turn around and pass it on. But I hear you. I understand what you're saying.
Senator Albright, I have a question for you.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
was in your mind? When you came up with this?
I'm just aware, I am acutely aware of how much trouble Birmingham Water Works is in, and we're trying to help them out.
You're not helping us out. You add to the problem with this. I mean, I sure know
No,
would be locked
seriously.
down in my house.
Seriously, you've asked, I'll tell you, this has been ongoing for a while. ADEM has been, how can I say this, very astute and very stingy in how they've been handling many things that's under their responsibility. We'll have that discussion too. Yeah. But they've got work to do. They are running interference in many ways for having the state monitor, control, and develop things in the state that's required by the feds. And by doing that, they're making sure that we are a state-regulated body, not a federal regulated body. To me, that brings a consistency to the state and an ability for people to perform and do as they choose. Mr. Russell is correct in that he is, the ADEM has fees on air and land matters and such, but on the water, there's very, very little. And he's correct. We could take this and put it in a system where we simply assess the 600 and then let those 600 fight and push it down too. It was selected to be more open about this because it's going to get pushed down. It's going to get however way it gets done. Even if we take this and put it under the general fund, it's going to get pushed down further. So it's a matter of actual cost. This is not something that's being made up. It's not something that's not required. So the cost is real, the responsibility is real, and we've got to deal with it in some way. We brought it here today for everybody to have an open discussion about it and to see really and truly what we're faced with. Now, we have been doing lots of things with our general fund. We've got and I'll take this moment if I might. We have the economic packages that's coming in. That's going to take money from the budgets, general fund also, and ETF. That's not made up money. That's real money that's coming out of our coffers. We got bills dropped to reduce taxes. Now, last year we reduced taxes somewhere around $200 million. That's money coming out of our coffers. We got bills again that have been dropped that's going to take hundreds of millions of dollars out of our coffers. And at the same time, everyone believes that we're fat with money and everybody's demands are high. Inflation is high. Construction is high. That's money out of our coffers. If you don't know it yet, the growth that we've been seeing, you remember those phenomenal growths of 18, 15, 12, those double-digit growth number days are just about over. In fact, if it wasn't for the interest that the general fund receives on its monies that we hold, just that interest comes in. That's the biggest contributor to the general fund now. If it wasn't for that, our general fund growth would barely be 3%. Our days of rapid growth are over. If you think 85 cents is difficult to face now, you wait for another 2 years. When the coffers have been emptied by all the things that we're doing today, and then we're faced with having to meet the resources, meet the services and the resources that's going to be required that we are passing now to increase. You think 85 cents is going to be hard? You wait. And that's an election year. So, yes, I brought this 85 cents here not only because I believe it's a valid claim that ADEM needs, but also I brought it here before this body so that this body will have a taste of what we're going to be faced with very, very soon. Now, people think I'm blowing smoke, all right? I hope I am. I hope I am. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a truism. We have obligations to meet services. We are facing it right now in a very friendly way, in almost a jovial manner, but the reality is going to come quickly to us.
He mentioned $10. What did that? I mean, when I saw here $10.
That's $10 per year. It's about the 85 cents Yeah, is that not right?
That's
Mr.
right. I think it's 10.20, I think, $10.20, I think, 85 cents a month.
Is that per customer,
Yes, ma'am.
$10 average?
Senator,
you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah, it is 85 cents per customer for everyone, per meter. You know, every household has a
Yeah,
meter.
that's per household, not per person.
Not per person, that's correct.
Per
It's
meter.
Per meter.
Per meter.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
2015, $250 million hole in the general fund. That's what you're talking about. That came after we borrowed money from the trust fund and after the federal money ran out. We're going to go there again. We got to be careful.
I would suggest we're on our way there.
Right, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you. I want to say publicly that I appreciate your candor today about the direction of
I
the
thought you
state
were going to talk about my
finances.
sarcasm, but Andrew's fine.
I know. But I'm hoping that that level of candor has also been given to those folks that think that we can continue to cut taxes. How does government pay for its services? It pays for its services through those taxes. And so because people want to go out and politically say, I cut taxes for you in 4 years, and then we're going to raise fees and do all these other things, I think that's disingenuous. Not that you are disingenuous, but I think as a body, that's the way we could be looked at. So I'm just hoping that the same level of candor, you'll let folks know too that this might not be the time that we should be cutting taxes because this is the direction that we're moving in. That's just one person's opinion. I just hope we continue with this level of candor throughout this quadrennial.
Well, I would differ with my colleague here. I don't think it's a disingenuousness. I think it is a matter of myopic focus on where we are and what we're doing. And I'm trying to look at a broader view.
Sound like you said the same thing to me almost. How you look at it?
Yes, ma'am. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. And I am no soothsayer. But it's our responsibility not to plan for the good years. Our responsibility is to plan for the worst situation and circumstances. So in that vein, I would move to give this bill a favorable report and hope I get the support, but that's me. We have a motion and second. Any other discussion? Shall we take a long vote?
Yes, please.
Let me just say, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to vote for you in committee, but let's talk before
You're
we
going to
move forward.
filibuster before, after? Or?
No, I'd never do that to you.
Thank you.
Senator Albritton? Senator Chambliss? Senator Beasley? Senator Coleman? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Elliott?
No.
Senator Gavan? Senator Jones? Senator Kelly? Senator Livingston? Senator Orr? Senator Price? Senator Shonut? Senator Stewart? Senator Stutz? Senator Weaver?
Without giving the numbers, I think the bill does not receive a favorable report. I thank the body for this discussion. I thank the body for the candor, if you will, and for listening to me and my rantings. Anything else for the body? If not, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.